Hi, Kathy from Kathy's Creations. Today our project is going to be a little tree skirt to fit this tree right here. The new thing that you're going to be introduced to is this friction pen. Let me see if I can turn it around so you can read it. And what that is, it is a pen that you write on your fabric, and when you iron it, the heat of the iron actually makes the writing disappear. Then I'm going to use these little 5-inch squares from Snow Happens. There's 42 of them in here. We're going to use 25 of those to make this tree skirt right here. I made one up so you can take an idea. You'll have an idea what it looks like. It opens right here to put on the tree. And then it has batting and it has a back and pins. And then I'll show you a really easy way to put it together. And as you note, we have it clipped with pinking shears, so there's no kind of hard work for you to do. Same with this. It's got pinking shears up there. The back is a solid color. Okay. Now, I hope you can see this. The very first thing you want to do with your fabric is you're going to lay it out. We are actually using 25 of these little pieces of 5-inch squares. Here are the squares that I've decided to use that I have laid out. So I'm going to take them over to the sewing machine and sew them in rows and put them all together, and then I will show you after it is ironed. And I forgot to mention, the way that I keep them straight is that I stack them on top of each other and keep the row together. If you want, you could take a picture with you, and that's another way. Or if you have a design wall, you could do it that way. But this is usually the way I do it, since this is along with our 5-inch squares, which we have 25. We're going to add a border around it, as I've cut out 4-inch of this fabric here, which is the snowman, and then 2.5-inch of the white on white Christmas fabric. The white will be the first border, and the blue with the snowman will be our second border. I have the first 2 rows ironed. And what you want to do is you want to make sure your seams are going the opposite direction. This seam's going one direction, and that seam is going the other, so that when you put them together and you pin them, they are nestled, which makes it easier for you to sew it. And I normally put a pin on each side of the seam. Don't forget, you don't want to you don't want to sew over your pins. And then I do each row to keep them straight. Now this is what your project should look like. These are the 25 squares all sewn together in rows. And this is what it looked like when I started out. And now I'm going to show you the next step that we're going to get it prepared to be putting our strips on. I always cut more strips than I need because I can always use a 2.5-inch strip. I cut 4 2.5-inch strips, the small size. That's going to be the small binding. And then I went ahead and I cut 4 of the 4-inch for the outer. You take your ruler, and what I'm doing is I'm going to cut off each corner. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put a 1/4 inch from each edge. This gives me my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Let me bring the camera up here so you can see a little bit better. See how it's a little overlap here? And then I'm going to cut it. Just like that. Every corner is going to have this little piece left over. All 4 corners are cut off. You take your strip that you cut, and I'm going to give you an example of what we're going to do so you have an idea. I'm going to work on the longer sides first. And what I do is I'll do the right side, the left side, I'll pin it, prepare it, sew it, and then I'll stop and I'll do the other side. And what you do is you fold this in half, and as you notice, half will fit. So I'm going to go over to the ironing board, I'm going to sew this, cut it off, and then pin it, and I will show you while I'm sitting over there each end that I'm talking about. I also wanted to show you that if you look at all the seams on here. I flipped this upside down so you could take a look at it, which I forgot to do over there at the table. They are all laid out flat. They've all nuzzled. There's no bumps. So when it comes to quilting this, which is what we will do later towards the tail end, you won't run into any kind of problems where it's double seamed or it's bunched up like this, which could cause a problem when you go to sew. Now that all 4 sides have been sewn on, I bring it to the ironing board, I press it. This is relaxing the seam. I flip it over and slowly iron it. Here we go. I take my ruler and I am laying it right across the corner piece. And you take your ruler and you're slicing off that and you're slicing off that. Now we're going to take our next, excuse me a minute here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take it over the ironing board. We're going to iron it. We're going to actually, once you've cut it in half, this one strip here, I'm going to act like it was cut. It will actually fit right here. Well, actually it won't fit, come to think of it, because the seam, the selvage needs to be taken off. So you can get 1, 2, you can get 3 out of this strip, and then your next strip will be your other one. We are going to do all 4 of these sides together. The reason we couldn't do it before is the way that the fabric laid over. It would have been, well, you probably would have gotten stuck with pins and everything else, so I'm not really into getting stuck with a pin. So these 4 sides, because they are so small, that's why I can do them. Go ahead, finish all 4 sides. When we're done, I'll take it over here to the cutting board and we'll go ahead and I'll show you how to cut it and prepare for the next strips that are those blue with the snowman on it. Now that we're ready here at the cutting board, we're going to do the same exact thing. You're going to line up right where that seam is, overlapping your ruler, and you're going to take these little pieces off. And you're going to do it to every side. We're going to do the same process. Now remember, I've got 4 of them. We're going to do the big sides, the longest sides first. Then you're going to, first while it's still in half, you're going to look to see if it fits. And sure enough, it does fit on that side. So one piece will do both sides. The second piece will do the other sides. And then we'll come back and we'll measure for the small corners. Here we are back at the cutting table. And I'm going to cut these ends off. Now my ruler's not long enough, so I'm lining it up with this fabric here, the white and the edge, and I'll just take this piece off. I'll move it up and take the next off. I could get that bigger ruler out here, but this one at least I can hold on to it. Last 4 sides on. Now let's see if I have enough strips for it. Let's see, I might not. I might have to cut an extra one because it got a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to get. I don't really want to put a seam in one. So that's going to fit one, but I don't think, let's see. Yes, I guess it will. All right, so that'll fit 2, and this will fit the other 2. Bring it, and I always give myself about 1 inch overlay on both ends of the batting. Not necessarily the fabric underneath it, because that's usually bigger, but the batting itself. And I'll roll it to pull it down. Roll it again, and I'm pulling it down. This way, I can pull this up. There you go. And what I do is I will take my scissors and I'm going to cut around this to remove the excess. I'm pretty confident it's smooth, but remember now I'm going to cut a little large here, so I'm making sure that I have extra. I'm going to put a little bit. Now, I take these teeny little pins here. See if you can see the size of that pin. And that's what I use. And in this case, to pin this, I always start in the middle and I work my way out, because this way you can smooth as you go. So I put one right smack dab in the middle. Just work it in a little bit. You can feel the back of your table. You want to make sure that you have, like this is a protective piece of hard plastic. I just finished pinning it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut off some more of this excess here, now that I know that I've got it correct. Just so it'll be easier and it won't be so cumbersome over there at the sewing machine. I will pick it up here so that you can take a look and you can see the stitching all the way down. Alright, so I'm going to continue making stitches on here, and then when I am finished, I'll show it to you laid out and we'll go from there. My foot back on, my regular foot back on. I went ahead and I kept the embroidery thread. What we're going to do now is, everything has been embroidered, quilted and everything, so we're going to put a single stitch, or you can use a zigzag stitch if you want, any kind of stitch you want. As a matter of fact, I am thinking that what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blanket stitch, and the reason being is that the pinking shears, we need to cut on the right hand side of wherever we stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch on there, then I'm going to take it over to the cutting mat and we'll check it out. Here is tree skirt. We are going to cut this edge right off here, and we're going to use the pinking shears. So just take your time and slowly cut around it. Let me give you an idea of what it looks like with my stitches on here. I put different kind of stitches, just giving you an idea. And then I did the, down here, I did the little outline, did some meandering all the way around. Then I put this stitch right here. I'm going to cut on this side with my pinking shears. Now that we're at the final part, we're going to mark the middle square with a circle. And I came straight on down with my ruler and marked it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew a stitch on each side of this line, and then on the inside of the circle, because I want my circle shorter, and then I'm going to cut this so that it can go around the tree. I will show you as soon as I get done sewing it. Finished with the tree skirt now. I put these little bows on it temporarily and wrapped it around this little Christmas tree. I hope everybody had fun making this Christmas tree skirt. I hope you enjoy it. I put it around my little tree here. That's not a very big tree. It's about 2 foot. If you've made this quilt tree skirt, you should congratulate yourselves. You've come a long way. You need to stay tuned so you can see a lot of new things we're going to be making next year. I'm going to be showing you how to sew on zippers, buttonholes. That's all upcoming. And binding also, so that you can make a quilt. And we'll make a small lap quilt so you can put it around you on the couch. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make a comment if you'd like. And like I said earlier, you can send it to my email if you're kind of shy about putting it out there. And go ahead and subscribe so you can get more notices about the videos coming up. Take care, everyone. I really enjoyed making this too. Bye-bye.